What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down some very important levels to be watching for how things are looking in my personal opinion, and also what's going on with some economic data coming out for tomorrow and earnings. But before I begin to double this information, before I get into any more details and give you guys some price predictions for tomorrow, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, deposit $100, you are guaranteed 7 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon in just a couple of weeks. Anyways, now let's break down what's happening to the market. Looking at SPY, I wanted to make it very clear that right now SPY is approaching resistance at this 516.5 area, which is where we have this imbalance. The next target above that's going to be 518.5, 520, and then obviously all the way up to like the 522 area. So we are seeing this thing getting closer and closer to all-time highs again. SPY is also looking like it could easily approach 518.5 tomorrow, as we just saw a very, very parabolic move during the end of the day. And we're seeing a lot of buyers once again stepping in as we're seeing a big shift in the way the charts are moving. So I want to break more details down about this for Tesla and the others, give you guys some forecast. But I first want to talk about some data. As a reminder, tomorrow is going to be Tuesday, May 7th, 2024. At 10 o'clock a.m., we have the Economic Optimism Index report coming out. Then at 11:30 a.m., we have Kashkari from the Fed giving a speech. Then we have some important bill auctions coming out after that. Let me just note that Kashkari is one of the biggest hawks this year. He tends to be more hawkish. It's going to be a little bit negative for the markets. Besides that, all the data is actually very minor, and it shouldn't really affect the market too much. So the market could still remain bullish despite this. Just be a little bit careful at 11:30 a.m. when we have Kashkari speaking. He could say some things that kind of shift things a bit. Besides that, there is still a lot of potential for upside. Now, for earnings, do not forget that for tomorrow, we have Disney coming out in the morning, not to mention Rivian and Upstart announcing earnings after the market closes. And then for today, after the market just closed a couple of hours ago, we had Palantir and Lucid announcing their earnings. So Palantir shares are down about 3%. And now they're down about 7%, if anything, because of the fact that they had lower than expected guidance, which is not the best of news for them. They did sign a $178 million contract with the U.S. Army earlier this year to help develop the next gen, field deployable sensor stations. So that's something worth noting. But besides that, they're still down quite a bit. So EPS met expectations at 8 cents. Revenue is at about $634 million. And that is above expectations. Besides that, we're starting to see full year guidance being relatively decent. I would say it was decent overall, but a little bit below some estimates. So it was just a tiny bit below it. It wasn't like extremely far off, which is why I said it's just still kind of decent. But despite that, the share price is still down. It's still a little bit below what the expectation was. And that's despite their net income increasing and other factors like that. So weak guidance has gotten in the way. That's why the share price has dropped. For Lucid, the stock is down on a Q1 loss. It's confirmed the Gravity SUV is on track for late 2024 launch. That's something worth noting. So this SUV is on track for the 2024 debut. They also reported revenue at $172.7 million, topping expectations of $150 million, nearly 16% higher. However, when it comes to the loss per share, unfortunately, it came in at 30 cents per share. That's higher than the estimates of about 25 cents. So that's actually not the best of news for them. That is actually how things are looking so far. And despite that, despite their EPS not being the strongest, there has been some more talks about price cuts, which help to boost their sales. And they're going to be talking more about their Gravity that's coming out very soon. So we'll see how things go. They didn't give us a whole lot of information about their previous or their upcoming guidance, but we can see that their earnings were not the strongest kind of mix. And that's part of why the share price is down quite a bit. Now, for the last thing I'm going to talk about is the fear and greed index. Right now is quite fearful, getting very close to neutral as the market is continuing to rally. The market's very greedy. We're seeing buyers remaining and stepping back in. We also have the puts and call option positioning coming. It's going up a little bit as we're starting to see a little bit of shorting that's happening, but the market is still shifting. Market volatility is also kind of neutral right here. We have this gap to fill down below, so this kind of suggests that this could dip even more, which would contribute to the market potentially dipping. So I'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. But I'm sorry, if this drops more, that would contribute to the market bouncing when the VIX starts to basically continue to fall. Sorry, I kind of misspoke for a second. So that's something worth noting. Besides that, now let's just talk about what's happening with the charts. So honestly, guys, the charts look very bullish. There's nothing bearish about this. SPY is just continuing to break out. If we go to the 1 hour time frame or the daily time frame, SPY is still continuing to hold up very, very nicely. We're seeing a very, very bullish looking daily candlestick, and it's going to easily approach 518.5 by tomorrow, in my personal opinion. As long as there's no bad news, we do have these gaps to fill below, so there will eventually be a move back down, but we're not ready yet for that, and this chart is remaining bullish for now. So we're going to be looking at 516.5 as resistance, 518.5 above that, and then 520 as our next targets. For supports, we're going to be looking at essentially basically this 515 area. If we lose this, we could come all the way down to the 512.5 area, then 510. But overall, we're holding up very, very nicely above 515, and we have the potential to go all the way up to about 518.5 in my personal opinion. So the chart looks more bullish. I do favor 518.5 plus for tomorrow, if not 520. There's going to likely be more upside, so get ready for that. How about for Tesla? Tesla to me looks more bullish. Let me break down exactly why that is. So we called out a very, very nice kind of like cup or inverse head and shoulders like structure that's kind of developed right here. This is a nice reversal pattern, and I called upside for Tesla, which ended up happening. Tesla also has potential to go all the way up towards, in my opinion, 186, this entire range again, and 188 above this. This 188 area is going to be our next target, followed by 190. So there is more upside potential, and I think there's a very good chance it's going to push. And we are kind of turning on the 4 hours, so I do think that this could push even higher here and fill this imbalance. So there's a very good chance that that is going to likely pan out. For Nvda, I think that there's a very good chance that this will be approaching $930 a share, and there's more upside potential over here. For supports, if we do end up getting a rejection, we're going to be watching this 908 area and eventually 900. But I favor that this is going to go up to at least 930 before we see some more resistance, and even higher than that potentially. So I think that in the morning, we might dip a little bit on Nvidia. I could see a retest of about this 915 zone. Eventually, a push all the way up to 930 plus is a very, very strong possibility. If that breaks, we'll be watching 944, but I see more upside potential nonetheless. For the QQQ, this is looking more bullish. It actually broke past 439. Very, very good sign. We closed at 440. We're looking very strong on the daily. I could easily see this going all the way up to about 441, then eventually 442.5. So the QQQ is looking more bullish, and there is more upside potential right over here. For Aapl, Aapl is also holding up very, very well. In my personal opinion, it's continuing to hold support. We're going to be looking at support right over here at this 181.36 area. And then we have resistance at 182.5 and eventually 183.5. So in my opinion, Aapl could grab liquidity again right here in the 181 area before it tries to rebound and eventually push up higher. I think we're going to see a little rebound on Aapl back up to about 182.5. So look for a little rebound and lots of sideways price action, at least for this moving forward. So that's what I'm seeing for the main five. Let's now talk about some more earnings that just came out and more stocks. So Palantir just announced earnings. Unfortunately, the share price is down quite a bit. We're currently at about a drop of about 7.85%, and the share price is currently at about 23.23. So that's our 20 EMA right now in the 4-hour time frame. We're going to be watching that as support. If we lose that, we'll be looking at 22.61, then eventually 22.5. So I do see some more downside potential. We'll see how things move from here. For Super Micro, there is more upside potential. I think we could be approaching 850 very, very soon. And we'll see if that ends up being the case, as we have a nice double bottom like structure. Now, this was initially looking like an inverse head and shoulders, not inverse head and shoulders, sorry, head and shoulders, excuse me. But now it's looking like it's trying to invalidate this. This is more like a double bottom. So it could be forming a giant W right here, and this could actually go higher. Going to be looking for 850 as our next target for more potential upside. For Rivian is breaking out as of right now. It has earnings in just a few days. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes a little higher, all the way up to about 10.64 before earnings. Then we'll see what happens after that, but it looks bullish to me. For SoFi, we're also approaching 7.18. If we break through this, we're easily going to be going all the way up towards 7.27, then eventually higher levels like 7.5. So I see a little bit more upside potential if we break 7.18, but this chart is following the trend. And one thing worth noting, guys, is looking at the way the market's moving, right? We have almost everything is green together. So the market is kind of moving in unison, besides things that are like inverse ETFs and such. So that's why I have a tendency of like being very bullish with everything together, because the market has a tendency of moving like this, right? SPY is going up, the QQQ is going up, the IWM is going up, like it's happening together. So anyways, going back, we have the IWM Russell 2000. This is currently going to be approaching 205, a little bit under 205. Break that, and we're easily going all the way up to about 207 plus to fill this imbalance. So there's more upside on the IWM Russell 2000. On top of this, for AMD, rebounding a bit, not that strong, but I do see potential for this to go all the way up to this imbalance fill at about 158. If that breaks, our next target is going to be 160. So look for 158 as our next target. There is some upside potential for that. For ARM, in my honest opinion, is looking more bullish. I think that we could push a little bit higher towards this resistance at this 110 area and eventually 111.5. So I think there's a little bit more upside potential for 110 and 111.5, and I think that that's going to be approaching our 200 EMA. So ARM looks a bit more bullish, could push a little bit higher from here, and we'll watch and see what happens for now. For Coinbase is still trading within a range. I think that Coinbase has been going back and forth for quite some time. So I wouldn't be surprised if we actually approach 224, then rebound and start pushing up towards 230 plus. So I think there's a very good chance that that's going to end up being the case, and we'll see how things go from here. For Amazon, I think that Amazon has more upside potential. Amazon could be approaching this 190 resistance. So that's my target on Amazon. Could this come back down, retest 188, and then bounce up for 190? Yes, it can, but I think that eventually 190 is coming. Meta is easily going up to about, in my personal opinion, 472 is likely coming. You can see on the 4-hour, it's trying to turn right here. Look for 472 on Meta, and we'll see what the move happens to be from there. For Microsoft, we're also looking kind of bullish right over here. We got a nice break past our resistance at 409. So we're going to be looking for a push all the way up towards 416. I think there's a very good chance that that's going to happen. For Google's also uptrending above its 20 EMA. There's a very, very good chance that this could be going all the way up to about this 172 area. So that, once again, is looking more bullish. For the VIX, unfortunately, at least for the people who are hoping that this would shift, it's still looking bearish, and it looks like it's going to still has more downside coming to fill this gap. So what this means is that the VIX is going to continue to drop. There's no sign that this is bouncing yet. It's looking kind of weak on the 4-hour. It's kind of flat on the daily. It still has more downside potential because the market has upside potential. The stock market is going to likely go up higher. The VIX is going to likely dip more. The VIX is not ready to bounce, which shows that the market's not ready to top yet. The market's not ready to top yet it means the market has more upside potential. The VIX has more downside potential alongside that. With the 10-year treasury yield, this is also dipping. There's a very, very good chance that this could fall all the way down towards about 4.45. And if that fails us, we could actually come all the way down closer to about this imbalance fill over here. So I do see some potential for us to kind of rebound a bit and start dipping lower. And I do think that this could drop more, and that could lead to even more downside. And for the dollar index, this is coming up just a bit. It's still kind of flat right now at this 105 area. It's going to be likely retesting our 200 EMA, so 105.19. If you get a big rejection and starts coming down towards this wick right here, that'll be bullish for the markets. If it breaks through this, it starts pushing higher. This could slow things down. To me, it looks like it's going to likely reject, and it's still kind of on a downtrend right now, so it might dip lower. That could be, once again, more bullish for the markets. But just watch and see. With that being said, guys, I am seeing personally more upside potential in the markets. I think that this could likely pan out for tomorrow. So look and see if we break these targets, and watch and see if we get more breaks of these resistance levels. All right. So thank you for listening. Have an absolutely incredible day, guys. The market likely has more upside potential. Can't wait to see what tomorrow holds. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for the next update. Thank you for listening again. Have an absolutely incredible rest of the day. And I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you and peace out.